You've raised the issue of funding for women's sport. Have you looked at the figures here when it comes to soccer for women in Australia? Do you have an estimate of how underfunded it is?
Yeah, well, just look at what's been brought in this country for the Women's World Cup. It's about $7 billion has been brought in to the country. About $4.35 billion of that has been from overseas. But I think what this shows is that women's sport is now getting the eyeballs. And this is where administrators, it's not necessarily just government having put money in. I think government's responsibilities at grassroots, making sure families can afford to be able to get their kids into playing sport. It's at the elite end where I think now the administrators of these sports need to make sure that the money isn't just funneled into paying the high wages of the men, but actually they have a real product, a world-leading product that I think administrators need to look at, and I think we all need to look at it and say, well, I think that the cut of the pie, because most of the pie comes from the media rights that they get, the TV rights that they get, is that I think there should be some squaring up of that, and that we shouldn't see, A-League women that are on about $22,000 a year. When this has been a bonanza for much of Australia and much of the soccer fraternity. So I think the cricket guys have won a World Cup, and now we're finally starting to see the women being able to have a women's IPL. I think professional women's sport, no matter the sport, is evolving, and I think it's not just the sporting fraternity, the broadcasters, but government's roles at grassroots, and I think all the way through. This is a big rethink, and I think the women's cricket, the women's netball, who are all world champions, have laid the foundation stones, and now I think the Matildas have just broken that ceiling, where I think there needs to be a big, hard look at this.